Hi everybody, it's Gemma. Welcome back to Pampered Wolf. Today we are going to be doing a bit of a skincare 101 in regards to moisturisers. So this is going to be all about the ingredients within a moisturiser, how to decode the ingredients list to actually see what that moisturiser is going to do for your skin, to see whether you've actually bought the right one. So hopefully this is going to help quite a lot of people, because I get asked questions all the time about specific moisturisers and people assuming that they do specific things when actually certain moisturisers don't. So before we crack straight on with this video, please make sure you have liked, you have subscribed, and you've hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. I have zhuzhed up my upload schedule and I'm now uploading on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 8 PM London time, and I also have the odd sneaky upload in there as well, so please make sure you have clicked on that notification bell so you don't miss any of those. So most moisturisers tend to have a lot of different ingredients in there, and it can be quite intimidating when you're looking at the ingredients list trying to decipher which ingredient does what and whether it's suitable for your skin. Now, lots of ingredients in there have different purposes and also different qualities, so we really need to know our ingredients and know them well. These ingredients can be broken down into three different categories. There are the occlusive ingredients, there are the emollient ingredients, and there are the humectant ingredients, and all three of these ingredients do slightly different things for your skin. Some moisturisers will only include ingredients from one specific category, meaning that that particular moisturiser will have more of a limited function. It will only really do one specific thing for your skin, whereas other moisturisers will include ingredients from maybe two or three of those categories, meaning that they are much more of an all-rounder and will do far more for your skin than something that's a little bit more limited and only includes ingredients from one specific category. Doesn't mean that that particular moisturiser is bad for your skin. Quite on the contrary, actually, if you're wanting your moisturiser to do a specific function, then picking one with just ingredients from that specific category that will do all those functions is going to be really beneficial for your skin. Personally, I like to choose a moisturiser which is much more of an all-rounder, because it just completes three jobs in one. But what do these occlusive, emollient and humectant ingredients actually do for our skin? What are some of the examples of those actual ingredients, and how do we decode the INCI list of our particular moisturiser to see whether it's doing the things that we actually require? Well, to know this, we're going to break down each category in turn, and we're going to go straight into occlusives. So, occlusives. Now, so many people are really frightened of applying occlusive ingredients to their skin. Anybody with really oily skin, anybody with acne-prone or blemish-prone skin tend to dodge occlusive ingredients like the plague, especially in the daytime. These occlusive ingredients tend to be really thick, heavy, waxy substances, and some of them can block the pores, especially if you are in that category of oily skin, blemish-prone skin and acne-prone skin anyway. So I completely understand why some people are hesitant to apply occlusives to their skin. However, occlusives are absolutely amazing, and anybody who does have oily skin or acne-prone skin or blemish-prone skin really does need to study the ingredients list. So if the occlusives appear within the top 5 ingredients within the INCI list, then definitely if you do have really oily skin or acne-prone skin or blemish-prone skin, I would tend to steer clear of that moisturiser, because it's probably going to be way too heavy for you. But if the occlusive ingredients feature much lower down on the INCI list, then you should be safe, especially at nighttime when you're really wanting to make sure that your skin is properly nourished. But what do occlusive ingredients do? The main purpose is to create a physical barrier on the surface of the skin to lock in any moisture and prevent any transepidermal water loss. So if you are wanting your skin to be really hydrated and nourished, and you're putting lots of serums on your skin and you want to really lock the goodness in place, an occlusive ingredient is the best way of doing that. These also fill in the cracks on the skin. So if you look at your skin really up close, especially if you have have really dry skin, you will see lots of broken patches and dry areas and cracks, and these occlusive ingredients will fill in those cracks and smooth the surface of the skin. Occlusive ingredients not only prevent moisture from getting out of the skin, some also prevent moisture from getting into the skin as well. So if you are a keen swimmer, if you're in the water all the time and you feel like this is really quite damaging your skin, or maybe you're going for a really long walk in the rain and you know your feet are going to be wet for a very long period of time, you may want to think about applying an occlusive ingredient to the areas of skin that are going to remain wet for a number of hours, and this will lock in the moisture that you already have in your skin, but it will also stop all the external moisture from getting in your skin and maybe creating a little bit of damage. Because of this fact, anybody that does use tretinoin and have watched any of my videos, often I always advise people, especially to prevent any sort of irritation further on down the line, I advise people to apply a moisturiser to their skin which acts as a buffer which they can then apply their tretinoin on top of. You really need to understand your ingredients, because if you are applying a really occlusive moisturiser to your skin before you're applying your tretinoin is going to struggle to get through that moisturiser to penetrate your skin. So your tretinoin won't be doing as good as it would do if you applied it on top of something with less occlusive ingredients in there. So that is one thing to bear in mind. So occlusives generally are best suited for people with dry to extra dry skin, as they really do seal the surface of the skin to prevent any transepidermal water loss, and they also smooth the surface of the skin as well. Another place that you can see a lot of occlusive ingredients is within a body moisturiser, because people are far less averse to having a really heavy, rich cream on their body as smothering a really heavy cream all over their face, which can feel really heavy and sometimes quite hot on the skin. Some examples of occlusive ingredients are zinc, petrolatum, mineral oil, lanolin, any dimethicone or silicones, any waxes, and products that are made up of only occlusive ingredients are products like Aquaphor and Vaseline, which I'm sure you've all heard of. Now, there are obviously occlusive ingredients in other moisturisers as well, but the lower down the INCI list, the lighter the moisturiser is going to feel, but it still will have those properties of locking in all of the moisture within your skin and preventing transepidermal water loss. So are occlusive ingredients actually bad for the skin? I'm sure everybody's heard that petrolatum and mineral oil and silicones are really bad for the skin. They've got a really bad reputation within the skincare world. And for me, this is completely unjustified. Completely unjustified. In fact, sometimes after surgery, you're prescribed a cream with really high quantities of not only petrolatum, but also mineral oil and silicones to aid the healing of your wound. These have been tried and tested over years and years and years, and they are completely safe to use on your skin, and they are absolutely fantastic ingredients. But obviously, if you do have really oily skin, blemish-prone skin, acne-prone skin, you need to make sure that the occlusive ingredients within your moisturiser are quite low down on the INCI list. That does not mean that these occlusive ingredients are bad. It just means that your skin doesn't need as much of it to nourish and smooth and lock in that transepidermal water loss. Okay, so we've talked about occlusive ingredients, which we now know tend to be really thick, heavy, waxy substances. Let's move on to emollients, which primarily are made up of fatty acids and butters, oils, lipids, and esters. The main purpose of an emollient is to soften and nourish the skin, which so many people want, and most people think that is the prime reason why they are applying their moisturiser in the first place, to nourish and to soften. So although this does nourish and soften, some of the ingredients that are emollient also have occlusive properties as well. Shea butter is a prime example of this. Shea butter can be quite an occlusive ingredient, but it's also really emollient as well. In fact, it's also a humectant, so it features in all three categories. Emollients can also prevent transepidermal water loss, so these are used to lock in any of the serums that you've already applied applied on your face, and they generally have a really nice feeling on the skin. They're not too heavy, they are quite lightweight, and they feel really softening. Emollient ingredients can also be used on all skin types, and you will see a large crossover between occlusive ingredients and emollient ingredients in these examples that I'm about to give you. Please be known though, if you do choose an emollient moisturiser, which is quite thin in texture, not as thick, the occlusive ingredients will be quite low down on the INCI list and generally won't be in the top 5. If they are in the top 5, the more occlusive the product. Lower down, the more emollient the product. So these examples are Cetearyl Alcohol, Squalane, cocoa butter, avocado oil, grapeseed oil. Lanolin is a crossover, Shea Butter is also a crossover, mineral oil as well, and also Petrolatum. So these are also emollient ingredients, and some of them are also occlusives, but they will feature lower in the INCI list if it's a more emollient moisturiser rather than being a really thick, heavy, occlusive moisturiser. So we talked about occlusive ingredients and moisturisers, which will be quite thick and waxy to the touch. We've talked about emollient ingredients and moisturisers, which will be a little bit more lightweight and creamier in texture. Let's move on to humectants. So humectants. Now, the main purpose of a humectant is to draw water and moisture into the skin to hydrate the skin. So it will bond with the water molecules in the air or on the surface of the skin, and it will draw those water molecules into the skin, hydrating the skin. Humectants are crucial ingredients for anybody with dry or dehydrated skin, and I can tell you this for now, even people with oily skin tend to have dehydrated skin. Most skins, and I would say 90% of all the skins that I used to look at while I was in the salon, were dehydrated. So these are crucial ingredients for practically everybody. The main thing about humectants is that humectants do not form a barrier on the surface of the skin to lock in that moisture and prevent any transepidermal water loss. So if you are applying any of these ingredients to your skin, you must then follow it up with a second step to actually lock those in place. Otherwise, you will lose that moisture throughout the day and it will probably pull out more moisture than you had in there to begin with. So it's really, really important that you do lock those ingredients in with something that is more emollient or occlusive. Humectants can be really lightweight on the skin, which is why they are so super popular in lightweight day creams and serums that are much more comfortable to wear because they are so super lightweight and don't feel heavy throughout the day. They're also really popular for anybody with any skin type, including anybody with an oilier skin, because these don't feel heavy, they don't block pores, and they don't have that oily texture. They do, however, tend to have a sticky texture to the surface of the skin. So some examples of some humectants are obviously water is the main one. There's also glycerin. Hyaluronic acid is one of the main ones that everybody hears about for hydrating the skin. Propelene Glycol and also vitamin B5, to name but a few. So let's talk about the ingredients list of one of my favorite moisturizers and see exactly what this is going to do for my skin. Now, this is the CeraVe Moisturizing Cream for dry to very dry skin. I use this all over my body. I use this on my face. I actually use it in the morning and at night, but primarily I use this at night because it is quite a heavy, thick cream. Now, this contains mainly purified water, glycerin, and hyaluronic acid. So we now know from this video that all those three ingredients are humectants. So this is going to hydrate my skin. Also within here are emollient and occlusive ingredients, namely petrolatum and also dimethicone. Petrolatum is the 8th ingredient in the INCI list, so although it's not in the top 5, it is quite high up there, so we know that this is going to be quite a heavy, nourishing cream, very, very smoothing, and also very emollient because petrolatum is also an emollient as well as an occlusive. We know that this is going to smooth the surface of the skin, we know that this is going to lock in any moisture and prevent any transepidermal water loss. So it is as simple as that. We just check in these ingredients, and without even trying this product, I know that this is going to be quite a thick cream. This is also going to seal in any moisture. It's also going to hydrate my skin, and it's going to be really nourishing. So I hope you've really enjoyed this video. I hope I've taught you something that you didn't know, and I hope I haven't waffled on for too long. My main purpose is that I now hope that you can go into any store and without having a sample of the actual product, know what the product is going to do for your skin and also know how it's going to feel on your skin, whether it's going to be quite a thick waxy substance, whether it's going to be more of a creamy substance, or whether it's going to be really, really lightweight and more gel-like. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Please make sure you have liked, subscribed, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And if you do feel the need to hit the dislike button, please let me know in the comment section below why you actually feel you need to do this, because constructive criticism is always key to me improving my channel and me improving the way that I deliver all the information to you. So if you can provide me with a little bit of constructive criticism, that is always great. Hope to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.